All right, so we've talked about how different environments, if you have an ethnic group that's from a different environment, it's going to change over time. It's going to change the average body type. And we've also talked about this idea that there are certain body types that are well suited for certain sports. If you want to be a basketball player, you cannot be really, really, really short. If you want to be a jockey on a horse, you can't be big and huge. If you want to be a sumo wrestler, you can't be a tiny little waif of an individual. Your body type is actually suited for specific sports. And finding the specific sport is going to make it so that you are most successful and most happy with the sport that you choose. So this is really this idea of the big boom of body types. And I'll explain what that means. And there's a term that David Epstein came up with, and he talks about in his book, The Sport Gene. But really, it's about what sport does my body fit. So by the end of this series of videos, you're going to be able to state the role of mechanics in performance. And again, the mechanics is really important because if you need to lift a heavy weight, if you have long arms and you're lifting the heavy weight and the weight is way over there versus short arms lifting the weight, now I've actually decreased the force that my muscle has to produce to do the same motion. So if I want to mechanically be stronger, I'm going to shorten my limbs. Then we're going to go back and you're going to restate Bergman and Allen's rules again, because that's going to be important for determining limb length and all of these important things in body size. And those are important things that are going to be, central to which sport your body fits. You're going to be able to define ecto, meso, and endomorph. You're going to be able to explain why different sports need different bodies, or at least at the elite level. You'll be able to name 3 physical factors that make a great distance runner. You'll be able to define the ideal climate to generate these factors, and describe one factor that led to great runners, distance runners coming from this area in the world called the Rift Valley in East Africa. And then you're also going to be able to name one sociological factor that makes a great runner. All right, so early on, there was this idea that the perfect athlete was symmetrical, that every sport had this idea that if you were the Vitruvian man, and Vitruvian man was this this image that you see here from Leonardo, basically was showing that your arm length was the same as your height, was the same as, so that you were exactly in proportion. You were symmetrical, that the ideal Vitruvian man had the same size bicep or arm, upper arm girth, neck, and calf, so that you were perfectly symmetrical. All of these different things were identical. And the idea early on is that in order to be a great sports person, you should have this shape. But that really doesn't explain the difference between a gymnast and a basketball player. And really those sports, as the sports began to develop, the type of body type that was ideal for each sport also had to change.